So I came home that night and I was really struggling, and I just said to God, look, I can't love you if you don't love my child. So you better talk to me about it, because I'm at a crossroads right now. It's either, am I going to stay with you, or am I going to go, well, you're not the God that loves everybody. I need to know. You need to tell me what's going on.
Hey, I'm Jeanie, and today I'm talking testimony with Julie. In this conversation, we discuss her incredible journey of faith, from growing up in Belfast to discovering community and purpose here in Australia. Julie shares powerful stories of God's protection, guidance, and love throughout her life, including miraculous stories of provision, her authentic approach to prayer, her heart for serving others, and her willingness to wrestle with difficult questions. This makes for a conversation that you don't want to miss. So sit back, relax. I hope you enjoy the episode.
I've actually been really excited to talk to you.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, because you come into church and you come in like with a vibrancy about you. And yeah, you do. And then when you serve as well on the LCV and when you speak about it, you have such a heart, such a heart for serving people. Where does that come from?
I'm not quite sure, actually. Like, even from a young age, I think I was 14 when I first volunteered for something that I remember, helping at the local youth club after school. They needed someone and I went. So I tend to be the volunteer in the family. My mother was always good at looking after us and family. She was a very kind person. So I would say I probably came from her mainly. But I don't know. I just always have sort of had a heart for people, to help people. And
All
comes
kinds
from God,
of yeah.
then.
That comes from God, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Was your mum a Christian?
Yes.
Did you grow up going to church?
Yes, we went to Sunday school. Mommy and Daddy didn't go. Daddy wasn't, well, he had been saved quite a few times, he says. I think he always just wasn't sure.
Wasn't sure about God?
Yeah,
or
yeah. You know how a lot of people sort of believe, but don't really know if they believe, because you're maybe frightened not to believe type thing. But
frightened of hell as a consequence or something?
I don't know. I don't really know there. But anyway, they were good people. And we did go to church as a family a few times, but mainly Donna and I went to Sunday school together.
Donna's your
sister.
Oh, okay. Did you grow up thinking there was a God and believing in
Yes, definitely think that I gave my heart to Jesus when I was really little at Sunday school.
You did?
Well, I don't remember
you don't
doing
remember.
so, but I feel like I must have, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I loved going to Sunday school, and I was in the GB and
What's
the girls,
GB?
The Girls Brigade.
The Guards Brigade?
Girls.
Girls Brigade.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your beautiful accent. I didn't understand that one then.
Yeah, in the Girls Brigade, and I love the music, of course. Loved all the Bible stories.
Which Bible
Samson
stories?
and Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yes.
All the Old Testament stories, I suppose, because that's what you remember as a child, because they're like epic. Our family, we always loved watching the epic biblical movies. There was definitely Christianity and faith in our family, definitely. So that's how it started. But I feel like I was always protected.
Protected by your family or by
No,
God?
by God.
What do you mean by that?
Because I had a few different things happen as a child. I was nearly abducted off the street when I was about 5 or 6.
Where were you at this time?
So in Belfast, that's where I was born and grew up. And we were all playing outside my granny's house. And this car pulled up with these blokes in it and, said, come here, called me over. We were brought up to respect your elders. So obviously I walked over, partially, not to the actual car door. And he said, oh, can you give out these leaflets or something like that? And I went to step forward closer, and just something stopped me. I just felt like a higher power just stopped me. from going closer. And just as I stopped, he tried to grab me from the car.
Wow.
Yeah.
But his arms missed you.
Yeah.
And then
It was
what?
like if I'd have taken the step, do you know what I mean? If I'd have stepped forward, he would have probably
grabbed you.
me. But I went to step and I just felt like something stopped me. Could have been an angel. Don't know.
Could have
But
been.
I just feel like something stopped me. It wasn't me. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was me because I was going to get leaflets.
Yeah. And it wasn't like you were afraid of them.
No. Well, I didn't have any reason to be frightened of them. Why would I? I'm a very trusting person. Usually I like people. It's not many people I don't get on with. So if I was to, meet someone and feel a vibe, that would be, doesn't happen very often. But if I do get it, then it means something.
That's a
know.
strong warning for
Yes.
you. Right.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Because
So
I feel things.
You feel things. What do you mean?
I feel vibes. Like I have felt the atmosphere change without being involved in anything. I
Right.
wasn't arguing with anybody or I didn't hear an argument, and I've went, right, it's time to go. It's like a bit of a sixth sense. Growing up in Belfast helps with when I go somewhere, and I didn't realize I did this, but I check where the exits are.
Yeah,
need
okay.
to
Have
get
you
away.
always done that?
I didn't realize that I did, but I do.
Well, having this abduction, this possible abduction, might have led to you checking those exits.
No, I don't think that was that. I think it's more grown up in Belfast during the Troubles.
Can you describe those troubles from your perspective?
Being a child, you didn't realise that this isn't normal because that's the way it was. I remember probably my earliest memory of going up, when we say up the road where the shops are, walked up from the street with Mommy and Donna, and a sweet shop had been petrol bombed and everybody had run in to get free sweets. As you do. So being a kid, I'm in there. And I remember coming out with a pack of chocolate sweets that were expensive. And my mommy told me to take them right back.
Did she? And did you?
Yes, of course.
You
You'd
did, yeah.
always done what your mommy told you.
And that protection that you felt, did you feel it at this time?
Yeah. Well, I never, even though people were getting killed in the bombs, but it was life. And I do feel now as an adult, when I see things, I think we all suffered PTSD. We all have a part of it from that experience. As a child, you don't realize because it's like every day.
How long did you live in Belfast for?
23 years. This is when I migrated.
Then you came to Australia.
Yes.
Did your faith continue from your childhood experience?
Well, I've always believed and I've always had a relationship with God. So I talk to God like I would talk to you.
Like a
Right.
conversation?
Yes, a conversation. I mean, I pray like in the mornings, in the evening, and at dinner time. But I can also, talk to God like normal. Even now, I get just a wee vision of Jesus and me still as a wee girl holding his hand. I could be here on a Sunday or thingy, it doesn't happen all the time, but I'll get that sometimes. And I feel that is, I do feel like I have a childlike faith in that I believe in miracles. I pray because I believe they work and they do work.
Have you seen any?
Miracles?
Yeah.
Gosh, I think there's miracles every day. One thing that I do is when I'm praying for people or situations, I will write them down and stick them on my board in my parlour at home. And then when they get answered, I write answered on them and then I put them in a box because we forget, see, what God has done. I feel that it's very easy. He's done all these things in our lives, but we sometimes forget what he's actually done because the next problems comes up or different things come up and you forget. So it's good for me to sometimes, if I'm feeling a bit low or a bit further from God, I will look at those and it reminds me of the prayers that he has answered. But I will say the latest miracle, as far as I'm concerned, in my life was my sister had a breast cancer scar. The ladies at the clinic said that it was the first stages of breast cancer, and they booked her in. She was going to need surgery and radiation treatment. So I think this was, say, the Monday. The next Tuesday, to see the surgeon. Anyway, I was here doing the food stuff, and I filled out a card. I didn't put name or anything. I just put benign breast mass, and I give it to Chris Morris, and I said, can you give that to the prayer team? And obviously I was praying as well, and my friends were praying and everything. On the following Friday, Donna rang me and said, I've just had a call from the breast clinic saying that your biopsy's come back and it's benign. If that's not a miracle, I don't know what is.
And you had lots of people praying.
Yeah.
Do you think that matters? If like there's one person praying or more people praying, is God more likely to answer a prayer?
Well, only because he says there's more than one gathered in my name. But I think all prayers, I don't think there's such a thing as a wasted prayer.
That's why you write them and stick them on your fridge.
Yes, for parking spaces and everything.
You do?
Yes.
God is actually that involved in people's lives?
And my husband said to me, you can't pray for parking spaces. I said, why not? It says we should pray to God for everything, no matter how big or how small. He wants to have a relationship with us. A relationship with us is not just praying when you're frightened or you need a miracle. A relationship with God is talking to him every day about the silliest wee things and the major big things. It's a relationship. He's your father.
I'm so intrigued that your God is so big that he can control the earth, but is also so invested in you in that he cares about your parking space.
Yes. I get parking spaces all the time.
You do? I think I need to pray this prayer. How did you come to this idea or conclusion or realization, you choose the word there, where God is this character, that he is this person that's so involved in your life?
Because he's involved in my life. Don't know about yours, but
Yeah.
he's in mine.
Oh, that's hey. I love how you said that.
Okay, so many things have happened to me in my life. I wasn't walking the walk, living the life, pretty much from 12 onwards until I pretty much was saved here in 2009.
Were you coming to church, but you considered yourself not saved, or did you come to church because of a reason?
Because I've had the relationship and I would talk to him and stuff, he's always tried to get me further, closer to him and involved in a church. So there's different times in my life where, like at 14, I read The Cross and the Switchblade, and I got my parents to buy me a cross for my birthday. I read another book that was really fascinating, if you haven't read it, From Witchcraft to Christ. That is one hell of a read. And so I think then I might have been open to, but nobody sort of came alongside me. I was open to really get involved, maybe, but then nothing sort of happened, or maybe I got sidetracked, maybe a boy, could have been, definitely. And then I started work after I got married. I worked for the civil service, and my supervisor was a Christian. See, my problem was I never had a problem with God. I just had a problem with Christians, because the ones that I came in contact with were always, judgmental, self-righteous, maybe not so much hypocritical, but yes, maybe hypocritical too. I just felt that they didn't show the love that Jesus shows. In my opinion, all we need to do is love God and love others. That's it. We don't have to, we're not judging. Yes, we know right and wrong, but we're all sinners. We're always going to sin, so we can never be perfect. And striving to be perfect is not what I think God wants us to be. He wants us to show love and compassion to others, regardless of their race, sexuality, religious beliefs.
How do you show love to other people?
Oh, I'm usually very smiley, touchy, huggy person. So that would be sort of the first things. Just talking to people and trying to fill a need for people. Like, so LCV, I give a lot to charity. I've been on humanitarian trips overseas.
It sounds like it's something active that
Yes.
we have to be active in showing love and care to other people.
Well, I think so, yes. It's easy to sit at home and be,
Armchair Christian, I don't know. Yes.
Is that the term?
I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Or a picket fence church where it's only the beautiful people are allowed in here. I think the people that need us are the people that aren't the happy, beautiful people, or the people that are homeless or drug addicted. Or I think we need to get involved more in that area.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you are involved in the local community ventures.
Yeah,
The charity
exactly.
here.
Because,
Yes.
I feel we needed to do that. We used to support a lot of different charities. And like I was saying to you the other week, I shaved my head for Cambodia. So that's how you help people.
Yes. Yes. If you didn't hear that, Julie shaved her head years ago as what was it?
Yes. So that was to raise money for Empower Asia to put kids through university.
You put your hair on the line for a
Did.
good cause.
And I loved my hair.
Yes. It was beautiful hair. I saw a picture.
And it was huge for me to do that. Really huge. But I felt like I was freed from vanity. Don't get me wrong, like, yes, I've got my makeup on, but it didn't have the same pull on me, to have no hair for a woman, and plus people thought I'd had breast cancer then because I was wearing,
All right.
what do you call those wee things?
Scarves, hats, beanies.
Turban things, because I'm a fashionista. It was like, oh, what can I wear on my head? This has opened up a whole lot of different options. But then people would talk to me. I might have come across somebody who did have breast cancer, so I was able to talk to them. Even though I didn't have breast cancer, I was able to understand how they felt as a woman not having any hair.
Did your faith grow through that experience?
Yes, definitely.
In what ways?
I was just so much closer to God. I felt that I'd been obedient because God asked you to do stuff. Your first reaction usually is no. Oh no, I don't think I could do that, or I don't know that person, or fear. It's usually fear, probably. Fear is the first thing, and then as you then accept it and trust Him, and I feel like the fear just disappeared. I felt like I just felt so close, so loved,
How did you hear His voice? You said God asked you to take your hair, or what were your exact words?
Oh, yes. So I've sort of jumped stories here a bit. I'll go back to the coming to Wollongong. I had a relationship with someone and we used to talk about God, and I don't know, it sort of started me praying more, and I'd be thanking God every day, for the day. So simple acts like just giving thanks for the day, right? Wasn't in church, wasn't reading my Bible. I didn't class myself as a Christian, but I did class myself as a believer. So I just felt like I would get words on this side of my head, which sounds really dumb.
What do you mean by words on this side of your head?
When God speaks to me, it's not like,
A booming voice,
like
okay.
a burning bush or anything. It's like this word. It's like I get a voice on this side of my head. But it's not you. It's not you, because I normally go, when the thought comes, the voice is like a thought voice. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Normally comes over this side of my head.
And it's always positive.
Yeah, it's normally guiding, or will give me an idea, or Because then I'll go, oh, why didn't I think of that? So, for example, this is the major one. This one day that changed my life in all different ways. Lunchtime, my business partner came over because we had a bookkeeping business, and I was doing up most of the work, 70% anyway, at least. We had a meeting at lunchtime. So at lunchtime, I ended the partnership and decided to keep the name of the business and continue with what I was doing, to continue the business.
Was this a pre-thought, or you just suddenly changed your mind?
Well, I had been feeling, that I was carrying that, right? So that happened at lunchtime. And by afternoon tea, when I was sitting with my sister, because she was working for me, I got the word Wollongong. Wollongong. I was in Ingleburn then and started my business in the Harry Potter room under the stairs. And anyway, so I got the word Wollongong, and because I had been thinking, I don't want to stay in Ingleburn. This is not where I want to be. I wanted to be closer to the ocean and that sort of thing. Not that I go in the water much, but anyway, I just wanted to be in a nicer area, so to speak. Never thought of Wollongong. So what I'm saying, the word Wollongong came over.
A thought from nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there having tea with my sister, and I get the word Wollongong, and I went, Wollongong, why didn't I think of that? Because Wollongong, I'll be near the ocean, near the beach. I'll be able to travel up to Campbelltown, out west to Sydney. So I'm like, whoa. So anyway, that was it. Me and my friend jumped in the car on the Saturday, drove down here, didn't know where we were going. Pretty much tried to follow this sort of coastal road and ended up in East Cornwall at a house that said for lease. And I went, oh. So we looked at that. I'm going, no, this isn't it. It just doesn't feel right. Anyway, turned, and there was another house for lease, and the garage door was open. And we walked through the garage out the back, and there was the owners, new owners. And I just went, this is it. This is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. I was able to negotiate 1 year's lease, $10 less a week than they were looking for. And I was there. So God brought me to Wollongong. So I was moved into that house, moved and all, 3 weeks to the day of getting the word Wollongong. Right?
Wow, you certainly act on it when you hear it. Yeah.
And then, I'll just tell you, we lost one. After being here a few weeks, I spun out going, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I don't know anybody. And I don't know, how am I going to get new clients? And so I was having a real, crisis. And I walked down the beach, because that's where you go when you're, feeling upset. And I was a bit teary. And I sat on the sand dune, and I'm looking out to sea and looking up and going, what am I going to do, God? And, crying. And the next minute, this wee crab came along and sat beside me, right? And you're going to think I'm nuts. But anyway, I'm a Cancer star sign, and God always knows what you're going to notice. So I'm going to notice the crab coming and sitting beside me, and it sat there for about 20 minutes. And I just had this peace, this full peace. I just felt like it just flowed right over me, this peace, while that crab sat there. And I went, that's God telling me everything's going to be okay and not to worry. Okay, so this was a Sunday. On the Tuesday, I got a phone call from Fairfax, because I used to work for Fairfax Community Newspapers as the credit manager. And then I was retrenched, because I was retrenched 3 times, which made me then start my own business. But anyway, cut a long story short, I got a phone call from Fairfax saying, would I like to come and fill a maternity position as a contractor, as their accountant for their real estate magazine, 3 days a week. I was self-employed. This was
yeah.
Could never in a million years imagine that happening. Ding.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. And that's just, I don't know, this is how things have worked in my life. I'm not saying I'm doing anything special. I'm just trusting. And when I get the word, or God asks me to do something after the initial, spinate and I obey, I don't know. I just feel like I get blessed.
I can see from those two examples how God is with you. He is caring for you in your home, your job, and your parking spaces. Yes. And I'm just curious to ask you, you mentioned before that at this time you believed in God, but you didn't call yourself a Christian because you didn't really appreciate Christians. When did it shift? When did you call yourself a Christian?
Okay, so I feel this was all part of God's plan, right? I became involved with this guy. I discovered through someone else that he was a born-again Christian, which I started laughing at. But anyway, I'm like, "Are you one of these born-again Christians?" And he said, yes. What? Anyway, so he came to this church.
Right.
And we had went to the pub a couple of times, and I said, look, don't talk to me about church. Me and God have our own thing going on. I don't need to go to a church to have my relationship with God. And we would go to the pub a few times, and his Christian friends, he'd go, oh, there's my friends from church. But they never came over to say, hi, how are you? And I went, well, hey, look at your great Christian friends not coming over to say hello.
Did that feel hurtful?
Well, not hurtful to me. I felt him. As time went on, I got to know these friends, and they're all lovely.
But did it validate your opinion about Christians?
Oh, it did,
It
yes. I'm away for a smoke. Yep, go and talk to your Christian friends.
Yeah.
So I was very, very anti church then. And he would, go to church on a Sunday, and then he'd come over to my place with a CD and go, oh, this was a really good sermon today, and I think you'd like it. And give me the CD, and I'd went, yeah, okay.
And throw it in the bin. Yeah,
Well,
right.
not in the bin, but
Yeah.
just, whatever. I was really anti-church, but God had other ideas. I went to these Christian friends' homes for barbecues and stuff, and I met the pastors, and they were lovely, really lovely, but not just lovely. All these people were real people. These people, they drank, they chatted, they talked about everything. I felt they were very warm and embracing. I never felt any judgment. So I couldn't believe they were pastors of a church, and all the other friends were fun, good crack, as we'd say in Belfast. So I really enjoyed their company, and I, went, oh, okay. Now, these are the type of Christians I don't mind hanging with. I eventually caved in and went, yes, I'll come to church. Again, God knows me. He knows what I'm going to react to. And the music, the band was the thing. That's why I said, just pretend you're at the pub seeing a new band. And that's what kept my feet here on the ground instead of walking away, because I was pretty much ready to run out that door. And then there was all this other stuff. Then I felt like he was courting me. There was just all this different stuff would happen. People come alongside me, different things would happen. He'd speak to me. I remember going into Sydney with my stepdaughter and seeing Guys and Dolls. And it was like, I was just like, the message was just smacking me in the face. If this hoodlum can change, so can I. And he was fully working on me. I could see the world in a different light or something. It was like my eyes were opened, and I could sort of really see the difference between, like if I went to a pub or something, I could sort of see that it wasn't all this. It was like my spiritual eyes were being opened. I was seeing things clearer or differently. I did feel like I was getting pulled between one life and the other life, which can still happen. But anyway, cut a long story short, I decided I wanted to go further, and I did the prayer and started to get involved in this church. And I'm still here, and I still love it. God definitely brought me here for a reason. Doesn't have to be a big reason. I can't believe it's been so long and I'm still here. But I never felt God say to me, no, well, no, I want you to go somewhere else.
Have you felt supported while you're in church?
Yes. I'm trying to think of, because again, the church has changed, the pastors have changed, and the people that came have left, and, different people. I've been going through the different ownerships, as we'd say, has brought different feelings or different, yeah, but all good. Like, I don't feel, like, as I was a Connect group leader and a network pastor, I'd went right up to that, and I've done everything, pretty much done every job in here. They used to do kitchen duty then as well. The thing I haven't done is a host team, but trying to get here for 8 o'clock in the morning would be a huge, huge problem for me. but yes, I have felt supported by the people around me. I haven't not felt supported. I only did have a problem when the gay thing came up with my daughter, now son.
Do you mean gay marriage? Is that what you're talking about? Or
yes, well, yes, when I sent an email, and then I was met with opposition by one person in particular. Well, nobody answered me, first off, and then one person.
what did you say in the email?
I just said, oh, has anybody seen this? I thought it was quite interesting. What are your thoughts? And I wasn't saying, are you for this or against it? I suppose it was more to say, again, with the loving others, well, how far does that go? Are you only going to love others because they're straight or they're white or they go to live in the same area or whatever? I don't know. I wanted to know what the dynamic was.
Where do you think the church is on that?
Well, I think here, like, what I really loved about Rowan and Jill was when they first came, and they still do that as far as I'm concerned, but they just always seem to show this, inclusiveness, and I felt, oh, okay, well, this is good, because, as far as I'm concerned, well, I had this conversation with God as well, so that's another story. Probably have to do another podcast for that one. It'll be Julie's podcast hour. Yeah, so yes, I have spoken to God about that, because my daughter is now a boy. Jade is now Oliver, and I had that conversation with God quite sort of early on in my Christian.
What do you mean by that conversation?
Well, I pretty much said to God that I can't love you if you don't love my child.
Right.
Okay.
And what did he say?
And he...
God said, yeah.
So, yes, this came from going out that night for dinner, and we came past the Hotel Illawarra, and it was like, here's where all the beautiful people are. And then we went round the corner to Castro's, which was the gay club that used to be here. It's not here anymore. And it was like, this is where all the freaks are. And I just had this real big compassion. I walked in there and I just felt huge compassion. And these people, accepted us. My daughter then was always dressed as masculine. But, they didn't go, oh, you're straight, you're not allowed in here or anything like that, And I remember thinking, if we'd have walked into the Hotel Illawarra, how different it would have been, because Jade and her partner wouldn't have looked like the rest of them. And I came home that night and it was really playing on me, because, I'm seeing stuff on TV where they're campaigning against gays. And I'm thinking, how can Christians even be thinking that way? I don't really understand that. I don't think that's what Jesus would do, so I don't understand. And isn't everybody created by God? So anyway, I was really struggling with what I was led to believe Christians thought of the gay community, and
which
what
was
I felt.
That they don't belong. Is that what you're sort of saying?
That they're an abomination.
And they don't belong in the church.
Yes.
Okay.
And they should, burn in hell, pretty much. So I came home that night and I was really struggling, and I just said to God, look, I can't love you if you don't love my child. So you better talk to me about it, because I'm at a crossroads right now. It's either am I going to stay with you or am I going to go, well, you're not the God that loves everybody. I need to know. You need to tell me what's going on. And he says, so then I get, look in the bag. What bag? What are you talking about? Anyway, I had been to the women's conference up in Oxford Falls a couple of weeks prior to that. And you get like a goodie bag. Hadn't looked in it. And I'm looking around for a bag. What a bag are you talking about? Anyway, found this bag. Went, oh, is this the bag? Don't know what I'm looking for. So I empties the bag on the bed. And still didn't know what I'm looking for, and I'm flicking through things. Okay, you got to show me what I'm looking for. Anyway, there's this magazine. I'm flicking through the magazine, and there it was. Got it. And it was the story of Anne Hash's mommy. Anne Hash had the relationship with Ellen DeGeneres. She was like the first, I suppose they were like the first openly gay female couple, well, on TV anyway. Hash's mommy in this article was a Christian and her husband was a Christian, but her husband had died of AIDS. I feel like he was living a double life. So the story was sort of saying this and how Anne Hash's mommy hated gays. Can you mention the word gay? Anyway, so in the story as it goes on, she is saying her God over a year was just directing her to different scriptures and speaking to her to get rid of this hatred for the gay population and telling her how he loves everybody, he loves all his children. See, people forget this. They're all God's creation, and he still wants them to be saved and to
have a relationship.
Have a relationship with him and be his children. So anyway, he was directing her to get rid of all this anger and this hatred and everything. And she now goes to around churches talking about, trying to educate Christians on loving gays, the gay community. And she goes to the gay community and tells them that Jesus loves them. Yeah. Tears were tripping me. Like, you could not be more clear as to what I asked you. So I know that God loves my child and loves all the children in the world, no matter.
The Bible said, for God so loved the world, meaning everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, and whoever believes in me, not this kind of person or that kind of person.
Exactly.
It's whoever believes in me.
Exactly.
So how did this affect your faith?
Well, it obviously, made me feel better for that. Because that was like I could take another step forward, You can always get closer to God. It doesn't matter what age you are, where you are in your Christian walk. The closest you'll ever get is when you see him. So there's so much room for improvement.
That's true. So you've continued to stay at the church even though you've been walking through this process with your child?
Yes.
Yeah. You didn't feel the church was ostracizing you or?
No. I don't feel this church, was ever anti-gay. It was just there might have been some people in it, you see. So I don't feel everybody knows, that what the story is with Oliver and I have to keep practicing. And he's getting married next year in the Netherlands. So he's with a lovely girl and they're very happy, and that's all you want for your kids.
And you've remained close.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. I even thought I might go to Mardi Gras and do the Christian parents who love their gay children float.
I could see you on that.
Oh, me too.
Yes. And so when your child Oliver was going through all of this, did you find or have you come against any of those Christians that you described earlier on, those judgmental, intolerant kind of Christians, or are you finding that more Christians are becoming more inclusive?
Well, I think, yes, they're becoming more inclusive. Yes, definitely. I have, apart from the one person who, pretty much was shouting at me that, I can't do that and, they're an abomination, and I had to stop her. And I just said, you got to stop talking now I don't know what God you believe in, but my God doesn't treat people like that. There's no such thing as his creation being an abomination.
How do you deal with people like that?
I pray for them because I can't. Ignorance is a big thing in prejudices, no matter what it is. I grew up in a country where you got killed because you were a Catholic or a Protestant. We're all Irish. I mean, how stupid's that?
Yeah, it is.
I know, but growing up with that, and you just go, how can you hate someone or kill someone when you don't know anything about them? I really don't understand it. And I find that if people just spent time, the more that you can get to know the people that you think you don't like or you're a bit wary of or whatever, well, the more you get to know them, you get to see the human side of them, you get to see that we are all the same. We hurt, we bleed, we cry, you know, all those things. And the things that are being done to those people, would we like that done to us? Put us in their position. Most people just want to have a good life and bring up their children and let their children have a good life and have grandchildren. Who wants all this war? You know, all this fighting and discrimination.
What do you think God thinks about all of this? What's his opinion?
I'm sure he looks down and goes, what the?
Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, what went wrong?
I think he still has faith in humanity because we have to have faith in humanity. We have to believe that good will overcome, even though it doesn't look like it is at times. But the trouble is, too, we're only hearing the bad stuff. We never hear about the good stuff. Where's the TV station or the radio station or the, you know, that are showing us the miracles in the world? There's always miracles.
Yes.
Why aren't those stories put out there? No wonder we've all got anxiety. That's why I had to stop watching the news. I feel that it's got more and more dramatic, and no matter where you look, but then you don't know even what's real and what's not real nowadays. So to me, has to be here in your heart. You know, I think our hearts and our souls is what makes us different from others. People, maybe evil people, but even evil people can come back. I don't think anybody's too far away from God. He can touch anybody.
Yeah.
I believe he can do anything.
As a Christian, how do we facilitate that?
What do you mean?
If you said God can touch anybody, what's our role as believers in God to help God touch people?
God puts people in our path, good people and bad people, and ones we're supposed to help, and the ones that we can't maybe physically help, we can pray for.
How do we pray for them? Like, what do we say?
Okay. Well, how do you pray for anybody? I could be driving down the street and I will see somebody. My eye will be caught, or, you know, directed towards them. Don't know this person, haven't spoken to them, and I will pray for that person. I just get prompted to pray for people, strangers.
Yeah. Is this voice that you hear?
Well, he doesn't say pray, but I just feel I'm drawn to pray for that person. So I will just say, you know, Heavenly Father, this person here, I don't know what's going on in their lives or their circumstances, but I ask you to heal any illness, bad relationships, break any chains of addiction or bad stuff, and bless them financially and bring the right people around them to help us help them.
That's a very well thought out prayer, because I'd just be like, God, help that person. I think he hears both, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, I do not consider myself an elaborate prayer. I just try to think of what the need might be.
If God is encouraging you to pray for people as you drive past them, and you have this really good relationship with Oliver, your son now, where's he taking you from here?
Oh, I have no idea.
What's he asking you to do?
I don't know. It's not. I'm not really getting a directive as such. Something's coming, but I know it is. We had a pretty good word from Rowan the other day. Rowan pretty much said that God wasn't finished with Adrian and I, and when we're in Africa, it'll become clear what the next step is or what the need is for us, and that we will have dreams in Africa. Not necessarily the same dreams, but the dreams will mean the same, or let us have a conversation, about them that will maybe bring clarity. And I went, oh no, what's coming next? Because it's going to be something. It's going to be scary.
Scary and exciting, maybe.
Yes, scary and exciting at the same time. So that's the thing, because your first feeling is fear. And then I always try and turn my fear. So I've been doing that my whole life. When I get frightened about stuff, I try to turn it into exciting. So then it'll be, wow, what could happen next? Who am I going to meet? Where are we going to go?
So you're ready for whatever God has.
I don't
for
know if
you.
I'm ready, but, are we ever ready? It's like having children. Are you ever ready to have children? But I just think that, whatever it is, and I do, I pray for God to just help me become the person that He's created me to be, and steer me in the right direction. And I just have faith that He'll guide me and show me the way. He has done all these years. Why would He stop now?
You've given me so many examples of how He's just been there in your life forever, protecting you, guiding you, drawing you closer. You even said that, and He was calling you. And even though at times you were saying, no, I don't want to go closer, He just kept bringing you in. And what I find really remarkable is you were giving an example of how you didn't like Christians. You had an opinion of Christians, but then God brought you into a group of Christians that you found to be raw and real.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it really is ignorance on everybody's part, isn't it? When you think about it, because when you get to know people in an area or a group that you think that maybe you don't like or you have an aversion to, once you get to know people, it changes that. All you've seen is maybe a video or got one side of the story. Everybody has problems, no matter who they are. Everybody goes through stuff. You don't know what anybody's going through at any time. And I think you just, no matter what it is, you have to show compassion. It's progress. There's always going to be progress, but we need to make a good progress. Progress forward, not backwards. Progress to make the world a better place, a happier place. Because I don't know about anybody else, but, it's been over 2,000 years. Actually, it must be closer to 5,000 years of fighting. Man, can you just wind your neck in and start making the world a better place and a safer place for everybody? I'm sick of all this violence.
I think we're all sick of the fighting and violence. Yeah. I want to thank you for sitting down with me. You've told me so much. I appreciate it. I didn't want the conversation to end, but we have to sadly draw this to a close. I've learned a lot from you. Write down your prayers and mostly love God, love people. Well, that wraps up today's testimony with Julie. What did you think? Her story is testimony that God meets us exactly where we are, whether that's in a moment of doubt or in the middle of a crisis or in the everyday decisions like where to find a parking space. If you enjoyed this conversation, please share it with somebody that you might think needs to hear Julie's message of faith, compassion, and God's radical love. God bless you, Julie. Thanks so much for sharing your incredible story. And to everyone else, until next time, may you experience God's presence in the miraculous and the mundane. Catch you next time.